Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a series review, and the series that I'm going to be talking about today is the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. So this is a adult romance series. We have 3 books that's a part of that series, and in each book we are focusing on a different friend from this central friend group. So we have Yasmin, Soledad, and Hendrix. The first book in the series is Before I Let Go. Then we have This Could Be Us. And then the last book that has recently been released, we have Can't Get Enough. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and talk about each book individually. I will give you guys a quick plot synopsis, my likes, my dislikes, and then I would let you guys know whether or not this is a series that I would recommend. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the first book, and that is Before I Let Go. And this was my first introduction into Kennedy Ryan. I'm not a huge romance reader. The romance books I do tend to pick up are the more popular ones because those are the ones that I hear a lot of people talking about, and that was the case with this one. When this was released as a pick for book of the month, I swear my Instagram went wild. Everybody was getting this and I didn't want to miss the hype train, so I got this too and I was pleasantly surprised. So in this one, we're focusing on our first friend in this friend group, and that is Yasmin. So Yasmin has been divorced from her husband Josiah for about 2 years when this book starts. And so we're following them as they are both still coping with this divorce. They're able to still co-parent. They are still running their restaurant together. They are kind of trying to get over both of them dating again. I believe Josiah in this one actually has a new girlfriend and Yasmin is the one that's dating. We also see them kind of deal with the fallout from their divorce and how it has affected their children, particularly their daughter who has started to act out. But during all of this, Yasmin and Josiah still have feelings for each other, and we're watching them as those feelings deepen over the course of the story. So this one, I would say, definitely look into the content warnings for this book. It mentions a lot of grief, loss of a loved one. There is talks of suicide and also depression. So I really enjoyed the progression of Yasmin and Josiah's relationship. There was just like so much built up tension between them. I just could not wait to see what was going to happen and how these feelings were going to unravel once they were able to talk about them. I also liked how it really talked about when parents get divorced, not just the effects that it has on like Yasmin and Josiah, but the effects that it had on their children and how both of them are kind of coping with it differently. And then, like I mentioned, as a part of the content warnings, there is a lot of talk about grief. There is something that happened to Yasmin and Josiah that was actually the cause of their divorce, and I liked seeing them eventually work through that and talk through their feelings. There's also a lot of talk about therapy and the importance of therapy, and I like how all of that was just organically incorporated into the story. I ended up rating this one 4 stars. There's a lot that I liked about it, but a part of me feels like their whole situation just came off a little too perfect. Like, you know, they have the perfect co-parenting relationship. They have the perfect situation when it comes to both of them trying to like run their restaurant. It's like, even though they're dating again, both of their families are surprisingly okay with it. It just, at times, it just didn't really feel realistic because I don't think all of those situations would just happen so perfectly. So that was the only thing that really stopped me from rating this one 5 stars. But other than that, everything else I really enjoyed in this story, especially Yasmin and Josiah's relationship. So then the next book, This Could Be Us. This is the book that focuses solely on Soledad. So Soledad, at the beginning of this, is about to get a divorce from her husband, Edward. He is not the best man. He has not treated her very nicely. He has been cheating on her, and recently he has gotten in trouble from embezzling a lot of money at his job. So Soledad is trying to figure out basically what she's going to do with her life, because she has been a stay-at-home mom. She has relied on Edward for income, and all she has to worry about is taking care of the home and their 3 daughters. So now we watch Soledad as she is trying to rebuild her life, and Judah has entered her life, and she is trying to kind of balance putting her life together while also seeing if she can start a new relationship with Judah. So in this one, I actually really enjoyed both Soledad and Judah. Not only did I enjoy the progression of their relationship, but I also liked them as characters by themselves. It was really interesting to watch Soledad really try to put her life back together, her figuring out how she's going to get money to take care of her daughters, her just having that confidence again after being with Edward, who I said did not treat her the nicest. And it also kind of talks about social media a lot, because she decides that she's really good at making content. So that's kind of where she leans into to get money. So I liked watching the progression of her put the pieces of her life back together. I also really like Judah. Throughout the progression of their relationship, he was so patient with her. He was really willing to kind of wait for her to get to a space when she was ready to actually commit to a new relationship. But he was also an excellent father. He also had a really good co-parenting relationship with his, I don't remember if it was like his ex-wife, but his ex-partner. They have 2 sons. They are both autistic. And so there's a lot that goes into raising autistic children. And so we definitely got to see a lot of that. And we got to see him interact with his sons and how patient he was and how he really cherished the relationship that he has with his sons. So both of these characters I really enjoyed. The romance I really enjoyed. In this one, it's definitely more of a slow burn romance, because it really is just focused on Soledad putting the pieces of her life back together. But nonetheless, I enjoyed this one as well, and I gave this one 4 stars. So the last book, Can't Get Enough. This is Hendrix's story, and this was the story that I have been waiting on, because in each of the books, we are introduced to the other characters. Even though they're focused on one main character, we still see the friends show up here and there throughout those books, and I have always enjoyed their friendship and their banter. But Hendrix has always been my favorite friend out of the group, because she is just so hilarious. She is so confident, and I just could not wait to get to her story. So in this one, we're following Hendrix, and Hendrix is like at the top of her game right now. She's a talent manager. Everything is going well until she meets Maverick. Funny story about Maverick is he's a really wealthy businessman, but one of Hendrix's clients is actually his ex-girlfriend. Maverick makes it very clear that he is interested in Hendrix, but Hendrix is very hesitant because she doesn't want to mess up her working relationship. Outside of this like back and forth between Hendrix and Maverick of will they, won't they, Hendrix is also dealing with her mother, who is suffering with Alzheimer's. And so that is actually one thing that Hendrix and Maverick kind of bond over, because his grandfather also had Alzheimer's and unfortunately passed away from it. So that was something that kind of bonded and pushed them closer. And so throughout the story, we're watching them as Hendrix is trying to figure out, does she want to take that leap of faith and try something new with Maverick? So I really did like this story. I like that it talked about how it is when you're dealing with a loved one that is suffering from something like Alzheimer's. And then there was a lot of talk around Hendrix's personal choice to not want to have kids. And it mentions how people are judged, women specifically are judged for not wanting to have children, if they just want to put their career, their loved ones first and not worry about kids. It talks a lot about that, and I really related with that in terms of the story. I also liked watching Hendrix as she is dealing with her mom and how she has to learn to take care of her, and some things that she used to do with her mom she can no longer do, and she just has to be really careful. And I actually like to see her and Maverick bond over that, because he also talked about his experience and his family's experience dealing with his grandfather. Now, I was actually a fan of Maverick and Hendrix's relationship because it was more on the slow burn like Soledad's. But boy, did they give us some steamy scenes in there that I was here for. I rated this one 4 stars, and this one would have gotten a 5-star for me, but I think the pacing for this one was a lot slower than the other books. We got a lot of information about Maverick's job, and it was more information than I personally needed to know. Anytime they would start talking about their jobs, I would kind of tune it out. For the last book in the series, I did have a chance to listen to it on audio, and I would just start to really space when they were talking about their jobs, because we would get these long sections of the background of like what they do, and I honestly could have cared less. I just wanted to get more into their relationship. But overall, I really enjoyed her story. But that being said, after reading all 3 books, I gave all 3 books 4 stars. I enjoyed this series. I think it was a solid adult romance series. Outside of the relationships, I think all of the books had really great side characters. I like that it wasn't just focused on the characters' romantic relationships, but each of the characters was dealing with stuff outside of that, which I like to see. I like when there's a really good balance between their personal life and then their romantic relationships, which I think Kennedy Ryan did an excellent job when it comes to that in this series. So is this a series that I would recommend? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure everybody has heard about this series. Now, do I think that you have to read every book in the series? No, I think she does a really good job of kind of like summarizing what happened to the other friend at some point in each of the books. So if one sounds more interesting than the other, I would say pick it up. You definitely do not have to read it in order. But of course, if you just want to know everything about this friend group, then I suggest you read all of the books. But that is all that I have for you guys. Please let me know down below whether or not you have read this series. Which one is your favorite in this series? And if you have not read it, have I convinced you to pick it up? So I will see you guys next time. Bye.